Hey, welcome to another episode of Tell Me How You're Mighty. It's Tracy and Sarah here, and we could not get enough stupid shit cheaters say. So, I mean, there were so many submissions that I've called more, and we're here for it, aren't we, Sarah? More stupid.
Part two. How depressing that there is a part two, that they say so many ridiculous things that there isn't, that they don't fit into one episode.
I know, right? We would just bore people, it would go on for hours, and we have to take it. We can only take so much stupid.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, our first submission.
My cheating ex said the reason why he cheated on me is because we no longer had things in common. And the examples he gave me was that I did not want to travel to Africa for an African safari, nor did I want to travel to Cambodia while he did. And instead, I wanted to travel to Europe or anywhere that had a beach, or pretty much open to traveling anywhere in the US. And then also because I no longer enjoyed Chinese food. Unfortunately, after I had my son and I was pregnant, I just lost the taste for it. I just did not enjoy it anymore. And that was his favorite type of food. So yes, he cheated on me because we didn't have those things in common. Even though we worked in the same industry, built a life together for 13 years, and have a child with special needs.
Okay. Well, would you break up with someone because they didn't want to go on an African safari with you?
I think people have to accept that sometimes people have different hobbies, ideas of what makes a good holiday, and there can be disputes, there can be discussions, but it seems to be going a little bit over the top to cheat on someone because did the cheating partner did they hunt down someone who had an interest in African safaris? Is this how it worked?
I don't know. Maybe he went on an African safari without her. And the Chinese food thing too. I mean, I think what he's trying to say to me with this is shorthand for, because I speak fluent fuckwit, is you're not exciting enough. You're not adventuresome enough. You have failed to enchant. And because you don't want to push the envelope of holidays, you don't want to go to Kruger Park or something, we can't be together because I am destined for greatness, Sarah.
Yes, and of course he was perfect. There's no way that if she wanted to go on a particular holiday or eat a sort of food, I'm sure that he
Mhm.
was just in full agreement all the time and doing exactly what she wanted to do. I suspect not.
Right. No, of course not. But I think when you're a chump, it doesn't occur to you that this would be a reason to devalue somebody and reject them. And if you reject somebody honestly, and I'm always talking about breaking up with people ethically, if you want to be as shallow as breaking up with someone because they don't want to go on a safari, you can do it. You can do it honestly. But to cheat on someone and then after the fact come up with the reason that you're incompatible is that they wouldn't go on a safari or eat Chinese food is just so lame. It's so
How are
lame.
you supposed to react to that as well? You should go, well, yes, I see your point. That's perfectly acceptable as a line of reasoning and thought.
Right, are you supposed to pick me dance and go, I will go. I will
Oh,
look at the zebras. I will do it. Zebras, right? Well, we will do it. Yeah, I don't think there's any winning move because then they're just going to come up with some other thing that you weren't sufficiently excited about. So,
now we have many, many other equally insane submissions
yes.
that have come in as well. So let's have a little
Let's
look at
go.
what else has been offered.
I never loved you.
It's a classic. That's a classic. And there was more that came after this of like, hey, we had children together. You told me you loved me. Like, we were married for a decade. But nope, I never, never loved you.
I think that's doubly cruel, though. If someone has cheated, to then not only take away, the fact that you thought that they were somebody that was loyal to you, but then to try and undermine the entire relationship that may have gone on for 20 or 30 years. You see people that have been married for years that have brought grandchildren into the world, uh,
Yeah.
and then they suddenly turn around and go, "Oh, it was all a fraud. I didn't love you." And actually, it's probably true, the I never loved you, because these people are not capable of genuine love. So that's probably the one
Yeah.
truism that's been uttered.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a really bitter pill to swallow, right? That they don't have the raw materials. But I think it's also a form of blame shifting, which is, were you so stupid that you couldn't intuit that I didn't love you? Like, were you not aware of the fraud? Like, also followed with, our marriage has been over for a long time, right? Like, you're the stupid person who didn't get the memo that it was over and that they never loved you. Yeah, I mean, it's a classic stupid shit cheaters say, which is why I started with it, because yeah, I got that one a lot.
When I asked FW why would he do this, he simply shrugged his shoulders and said, I'm just better at relationships than you, Karen.
I mean, what do you mean you're better at
Karen.
relationships? Because you're better at shallow relationships, trotting all over the place, but you can't focus on a stable relationship.
Yeah, I just thought this one was so clueless. Like, I'm just better at relationships than you, Karen. I mean, like, yeah, you're winning there with the cheating and the lying and the gaslighting, and then they just come out going, I'm better at it. I'm great.
Do you think they imply that the more relationships that you can have all in one go makes you better at it? So is there a kind of weird
Oh, yeah.
reasoning going on here that yeah, maybe not so good at just the one stable relationship, but quite good at carrying on multiple relationships all at the same time?
That's an interesting perspective. I had not considered the quantity over quality issue. I suppose that's where my chump brain went, is that the
You know,
quality
it's
of the relationship.
it's kind of, maybe it's a sort of collection thing. So,
Yeah,
having one is, well, that's a bit sad, isn't it? Just the one. But if you can
I
do several, then that makes you absolutely brilliant and outstanding in a
yeah.
relationship environment.
I think I have to concede your point that you are better at relationships, right? That was how I would
You have
respond.
more of them all in one go. Okay,
Yeah,
what else have we got?
you juggle really well. That secret sexual basement you've got going on, that's next level stuff, man. I concede your point.
It happened because you never bought me a comfortable chair to sit in.
Okay, and now this is an interesting one because a comfortable chair is quite a subjective thing. Some people will find one chair comfortable, the other. So it might be, there might be every possibility that you weren't aware that
Mm.
there was a chair related trauma going on in this person's mind,
It's
and
very
also,
Goldilocks and Three Bears, isn't
yeah,
it?
it also implies that the full responsibility for providing comfortable seating is
Yes.
with the partner. You couldn't possibly take responsibility for your own comfortable chair. Someone else has to be in charge of that.
He he couldn't buy a chair. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
imagining, is he like quadriplegic or something? He
Yeah,
just can't.
surely if you it would be easier to go out and buy a new chair than it would be to conduct yourself in all sorts of lies, deceit, and trotting around having an affair. You'd have thought,
Yes,
wouldn't you?
I know. It's also that's like this whole Miss Muffet thing, sat on the tuffet, and like it's just not. It wasn't good enough. You're some kind of princeling, princess, whatever. Like your chair, it wasn't comfortable enough.
I've
Off with
just
their
envisioned
head.
someone perched uncomfortably and in an aggrieved fashion on the edge of a hard, unforgiving seat and
A
getting more and
pew,
more
a
resentful.
church bench. Yeah, I know. And they suffered that way for years, and they never loved you. They've gone off. They have a bean bag. They're very happy now.
After D-Day, finding out about co-worker and HR investigation, ignoring my gasping crying all night, finding out about massages and strangers, I told him I needed him to move out. But his first words were, "But where will I park my motorcycle?"
Yeah, it's all about him,
Thing.
right? Him and his stuff. And you
So
see
you
where
can
the
you can
chump
ruin
is.
somebody's entire life. You can but
Yeah.
then consequences of where your stuff goes, you immediately turn to being aggrieved and annoyed.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, whatever will happen to the motorcycle? Oh my God. I actually had something similar when I was dealing with my fuckwit. Like, I mean, on a sad note, I had a protection from abuse order, which was absolutely terrifying. He came home and tore it up, and I called the police, and I mean, it was major level drama. But as the cops were putting him in the cop car, he cried out, how could you do this to me? I'm laughing now. I was hyperventilating with fear and terror. The guy had guns, and I mean, it was drama. It was high drama. But I mean, really, that was where he thought. Like, it wasn't that he threatened my life. It wasn't that the situation, the cheating, and the threats had gotten so scary that I had to call law enforcement. It was, how could I do this to him? You know, same kind of thing. And he also had motorcycles. They didn't come into the picture till later. But yeah, you're a thing. You're an appliance. How could my appliance turn on me? What about my other appliances?
My mother always told me that I am responsible for my own happiness.
Quite often you do see that there's been a sort of relationship with parents, mothers who've told them that they're a magnificent beast, that then means that they are not terribly good at grown up proper relationships. And this one is, my mother always told me I'm responsible for my own happiness. Never mind anyone else's. Never mind how your behavior impacts on anybody else. Your mum has said that you're just responsible for your own happiness. So that makes it fine to
It's
do
such a
whatever.
weird thing to say.
Uh,
It's,
Well, it kind of reminds me, you've just brought what part of your own experience into it. When my ex-husband had an affair, his mother, her first thoughts, she said, "What have you done to drive my son to an affair?" So again, it was not his,
oh,
it wasn't his fault. It was something that I'd done to make him behave in that fashion. So
how
I
could
think,
you?
yeah, exactly. But again, and then immediately her response was, well, as long as he's happy, let's just accept what goes on. So I think that is quite a common theme.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and the whole thing of the happiness, right? I'm not doing something unethical, harmful, abusive. It's about my happiness. And we all agree that my happiness is the most important thing. It's just bonkers. It's bonkers.
You can catch it from bed sheets, It being chlamydia. No, you can't, but you can catch it from what's between the bed sheets.
I always have to throw one with STDs because there's so much gaslighting and craziness. They live in a magical reality that nobody ever catches anything, and they also imagine their affair partners have never slept with anybody but them. That's another one. Yes, he's trying to say that she caught chlamydia from bed sheets.
I mean, this is just, even if you can catch it from the bed sheets, which of course you can't, just the stupidity of trying to backtrack and pretend and carry on with the lying. There's never any sort of holding your hands up and going, yeah, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, right,
That was my behavior. There's
right.
this whole digging yourself further into the web of lies and intrigue
Hmm.
by further ridiculous lies that aren't even believable.
Right. Well, which is its own kind of power play, I argue. The more ridiculous the lie, the more entitlement. I mean, they're not even going to come up with a good lie. They're just they disrespect you so much that they'll just say something preposterous. I mean, why should they have to even really work that hard to cover their butts? It's yeah. I mean, he's not going to take responsibility. To think that you're going to believe that you caught it from a toilet seat or the bed sheets or, a towel or I mean, I think I've read everything at this point about where the STD came from. Oh, run away, and go to a doctor.
We were doing couples therapy, and we had to fill out these worksheets where we graded ourselves and each other on various aspects of our relationship. On the field faithfulness, I gave myself an A and her an F. On the same question, she gave me an A and herself a C. I interpreted that to mean, hey, 75% of the time I've been faithful. LOL. Also, she gave me an F on, does your partner fulfill you spiritually? What a crock of shit that whole process was.
I thought these therapists, I can imagine this therapist just has a bunch of these things and it blows off the dust and like pulls this thing out and, okay, we're going to do a one size fits all worksheet and we're going to grade each other on our spousal performance.
I just think it's staggering. I mean, it's a very weird process to get involved in, sort of giving yourself a grade, because these people will always give themselves a high grade given any sort of
Yes.
opportunity, because let's see, they're after all, they are magnificent. Um, so obviously, if someone has been unfaithful, and you've been faithful, the logical conclusion is that you would get the top grade, they get the bottom grade.
Right.
But to come up with giving somebody giving herself a C
For percentage.
you get the top mark for, but you get a C, sort of an okay, average, because some of the time you've been faithful. So surely you fail the moment you're unfaithful once, you fail the whole thing. It doesn't work like the fact that you go, oh well, I was faithful for a little bit, so that's fine. I'm faithful. You fail the moment you're unfaithful, don't you?
Yeah, I agree with you. But I also got that same mindfuckery of, it didn't take that long, as if it was like a time management problem. Yeah, 75%, overall. And Dan Savage actually argues this with monogamish. I'm monogamous most of the time, except for the times when I'm not. So overall, I get a passing grade, It's just another way to minimize it. It's another way to sort of protect entitlement and yeah. But I mean, to me, it's, the guy says it's a crock of shit. I'm like, the fact that you're paying money for this terrible advice and to subject yourself to that. Yeah, shame on that therapist. That was bad. That was really bad.
Mine claims never to have lied to me, even though he had a secret life for decades. Lies of omission aren't really lies. You never asked me, so I just never told you. Silly me. I should have known to say, "Hi, honey, how was your day? Did any strippers blow you after work? My bad."
So many of these submissions were things like, "That's not really a lie," or I could put them under, "That's not what that looks like."
I think this one is astonishing, that you can have a secret life, but you didn't lie, because you weren't asked whether you had a secret life.
Right.
So therefore you weren't lying. You were just very accomplished at covering up.
Yeah, lies of omission. You didn't ask about the strippers, so why would it come up in conversation? Hey, the stripper, if you don't ask.
Because
they're
you'd
not
never
gonna
have the mindset to ask, would you? Because you don't. It doesn't occur to you. It doesn't occur to normal functioning people that their partner may be involved in all sorts of antics. In the same way as you wouldn't ask whether someone had been out and committed a hideous crime during the
Right. Have you murdered anybody this afternoon?
exactly.
Have you mugged a pensioner? Like what's going on? What don't I know about? I mean, I guess you have to carry along a checklist. Yeah. I mean, that one's crazy.
And the idea you have to ask as well. You shouldn't have to ask. You should be able to
No.
be secure in the knowledge. It's funny, I saw an article in the paper today, and it was a woman that had written in. I didn't see what the advice was actually, but she'd written into an agony uncle to say that her husband had had an affair years ago, and
Mm,
she was unable to forget about it. It was just still there. It was still going on in her mind, and should she leave? And that kind
yeah.
of highlighted the fact that you once you know about this stuff, once it's out there,
Mhm.
it's just what goes is that assumption we all have that your partner isn't having an affair. And once
Yeah.
it creeps into your life, that you have to ask, you have to investigate, you have to track down what they're doing, it fundamentally destroys the relationship. And so the assumption that you have to ask in the first place means that trust is not there.
Mhm.
A relationship is all about trust and not having to ask.
Yeah, and look, and some things should be a given, like you're not blowing strippers during your lunch hour. Or sorry, strippers aren't blowing you, or whatever. I mean, yeah, it's just a way again of putting it on the chump and blame shifting and darvoing. I'm not the bad guy. You're the bad guy. You didn't ask. I, yeah, and to think there are people listening to this podcast who are trying to sort out that mindfuckery in their lives right now. Someone is saying something preposterous to them and they're looking for a reality check. So we are giving you a reality check that makes no sense at all. You're not stupid to trust your partner.
I had come home from work early, and coming in the back door to our apartment building, her bedroom was on the first floor facing the parking lot, when I heard my husband's distinctive shout of, "I'm coming, I'm coming." When he arrived in our apartment, minutes after me, in a disheveled state with his polo shirt inside out, he swore up and down that he and Alice downstairs had done nothing but play Monopoly. In the nude, in her bedroom.
Um, they were playing Monopoly.
Well, I have to say, I've had some heated games of Monopoly, and it's quite interesting because Monopoly is a game where people can get involved in some scurrilous cheating activities.
In Monopoly?
I remember playing with my brother-in-law one year, and I couldn't work out how he kept winning, even though he had no properties. And in the same way as a lot of our cheaters have got double life, he had a second Monopoly board upstairs. He kept going and getting the money from that game and bringing it down. So I can understand a heated Monopoly game, but not
Who
quite.
does that? This guy
Not
was an
quite.
adult. He was an adult. He wasn't like 7. He was an adult.
Yeah. So that was, but being in a disheveled state and then claiming that you and your affair partner have been playing Monopoly is just
Again,
ludicrous.
it's the preposterous lie. It's just that they disrespect you so much, they think you're going to believe that they were playing Monopoly. So I think this guy should not go past go, not collect $200, and go straight to jail.
Please don't do anything nasty to my car. Okay. Can't say that I've ever sabotaged or vandalized a vehicle or anything, really. Even at my most expansive bad day, I don't think I ever talked about anything like that. Given her track record, she was pretty good at ruining vehicles, without any revenging tactics.
So don't do something nasty to my car. So the immediate response again is possessions rather than what you've done to another human being. So why would you imagine that someone would be nasty to your
Her
car?
car. I think there's a little bit of projection going on. Maybe if he had cheated, she might, destroy his car. Like it kind of says more about who she is than who he is. And also that's kind of a trope, right? I mean, the whole Carrie Underwood song about like destroying the guy's truck. I don't know, that song. Why can't I think of the lyrics at the moment? But yeah, she takes a Louisville Slugger, knocks out the headlights, keys his car because he's cheating on her. And it was a big hit. So maybe that's what goes on in cheaters' minds. So like, oh my God, they're going to destroy my car. I've been found out, they're going to get their baseball bat and bash my car in.
Because destroying a car is a lot worse than destroying an entire relationship or imploding someone's
Right.
life, of course.
Right. I know. It's a strange thing. It's a strange place to go.
Mm.
I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you.
It's a lie, right?
You lie by omission, don't you? Just because you're lying, you're deceiving.
Right.
Because it's not vocalized doesn't mean it didn't happen. It just that reminds me of that really reminds me of when people haven't quite developed, when toddlers, they haven't developed to the point where they can't understand what's going on in other people's lives, and when they cover their eyes they think that people can't see them.
Right.
That kind of level of development, isn't it? If you didn't know about it, then I wasn't lying.
Right. I just didn't tell you. I didn't lie. And also there's just a lot of this whole, like, I get off on a technicality. Technically, it wasn't a lie because I didn't utter something from my mouth. I just deceived you in a different way. If you'd swapped out my cornflakes for arsenic or something, it doesn't make it any less of like poisoning because you didn't announce it. Or, it's just like, it's just harm in a different way. You're just delivering harm some other way. So I don't. Yeah, I mean, the fact that we even are trying to argue this is if you're explaining, you're losing, right? But you
did something a lot. Basically, they did something a lot worse than lying. They cheated.
Yeah.
Little white lies, maybe once in a while, people say but you can't undo one wrong by saying that you didn't do something else. So you cheated. So it doesn't really matter whether you lied or not. You cheated, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, right. And don't try to engage in stupid. Don't try to like parse with them. Like
I think this is what this is highlighting is just don't get embroiled in this. Don't get embroiled in these arguments with these people. Don't, because there is no logical conversation to be had as a result of this. And on to the next submission, which is equally ludicrous.
No, I didn't fuck her. We were only studying for economics. With a picnic and a bottle of wine at the lake, I found a strange bra in the cooler.
When you find a strange bra in the cooler, Like we were only studying for economics.
This happens, doesn't it? I did economics A level. This happens quite often, doesn't it? When
Really?
you are studying
You
economics,
just it's like
random
strip
pieces of
poker.
clothing get slung all over the place.
I had no idea economics was so interesting.
It's the excitement of that economic theory that goes on.
I think I missed out on all the fun. I
Yeah, you
actually
did.
spent a year at the London School of Economics, and there was no bra flinging.
No, well, I don't know what was going on because that is a usual part of economics, I'm sure, in this little fantasy world of this individual.
I made a mistake. A mistake is putting unleaded instead of diesel into your car. A 7-month ongoing relationship with a stripper 20 years his junior is not a mistake.
This is a common one, isn't it? This is common,
Yeah.
a mistake. Because a mistake doesn't really involve lots of planning and plotting and lying and cheating and deceiving and leading a double life. A mistake is,
Yeah,
I don't
oops. Like I think that's the thing too. It's like when you minimize it and you say a mistake, now it's a way to kind of put it back on the chump and go, like you're a hard ass. Like, how can you be so unforgiving? It was just a mistake. Like, why are you getting so upset? I fail to understand your hostility. I mean, that's what mistake says. Versus if you did something to intentionally, that's why language is so powerful. If we say it's abuse, all right, well, you can't hide under the invisibility cloak of mistake,
And also, a mistake implies a one-off. And I
Yeah.
suppose maybe if you've had a one-night stand, you've got it. But actually, quite often, this isn't a one-off. This is a sustained series of mistakes that goes on over a long period of time. That's not a mistake, is it?
No, and that's a very good point, is that you're using executive functioning. You are making decisions. You have choices. You have agency. Mistakes are unbidden, like they're oopses. This is you. I mean, I guess you could argue people make poor decisions and later regret it as a mistake. But again, a mistake is a lesser offense than cheating and betraying someone.
After my STD diagnosis, 1 month after I discovered his year-long affair, I didn't use a condom because she had been celibate for 13 years until she met me. Even my therapist laughed out loud at that one.
Oh my. Because, yes, once again, they don't know where these STDs come from because this other woman had been celibate for 13 years until he was just a very special someone that, got her out of the tower that she'd been locked in. The blah. Yeah.
It shows a staggering amount of a lack of self-awareness as well. And actually, the fact that an affair partner is prepared to collude and cheat, they couldn't possibly be lying about their celibate status, could they? Because they don't tell lies.
No.
They're perfect and pure.
No,
That's what
never,
they are.
never. No, of course not. How could you even think such a thing? She was celibate for 13 years. And also, like, I think the whole thing is if you give someone an STD, I think their response is, I'm so sorry, let's go to the doctor, how could I, whatever. It's not to explain, I don't know where you got that, because she was, also, does that mean you fuck other people other than the celibate lady? I mean, it came from somewhere. It didn't come from, it's just such a weird place to go. Oh, okay. Our next,
The next ones are all about personal growth and development. So quite often, the people that get involved in affairs, they're growing as a person whilst doing it.
It's all just part of the journey of self-actualization. And you were just you were a lesson, Sarah. That's what you were. You were a lesson on the road to happiness.
Yes.
And they will not apologize for that. They will not apologize for it. I think that's the other thing, that kind of defiant, I have to be me. I have to follow my bliss, my happiness. So yeah, and it's a multi-year sexual affair. It's okay because it helped her grow as a person.
I have learned to value the person I am today. That is what I will not apologize for. So, The multi-year sexual affair was okay because it helped her grow as a person?
Quite often, the people that get involved in affairs, they're growing as a person whilst
Yeah.
doing it.
It's all just part of the journey of self-actualization. And you were just you were a lesson, Sarah. That's what you were. You were a lesson on the road to happiness.
Yes.
I don't, and they will not apologize for that. They will not apologize for it. I think that's the other thing, that kind of defiant, I have to be me. I have to follow my bliss, my happiness. So yeah, and it's a multi-year sexual affair. It's okay because it helped her grow as a person.
We have to study for Hebrew class together. I need to pass this class. He failed Hebrew twice, for the record. Guess why?
Okay, this one's studying Hebrew, but Bible study comes up a lot. I like to use it as a throwaway line when I'm writing, but there are actual people who write to me who get the Bible study. We were in a hotel and we were just holding hands and it was Bible study. And in this case, they're just studying Hebrew together. And how could your mind go into the gutter? Like, I guess they weren't very good study partners if he flunked.
No, but again, it's that justification, isn't it?
They are not prostitutes. They are masseuses.
They're not prostitutes. You have this completely wrong. They're touching him only for the purposes of therapeutic massage. What they massage, which bits get massaged, this is beside the point. You are insulting them by calling them prostitutes. They are masseuses.
Yes, and I'm sure that had it been the other way round and you had gone along yourself for such massaging opportunities, that they would have been very happy with that because that's just, maybe getting a bad back sorted or something.
Yeah.
Something to do with the prostitution services.
No, and that's a whole other, I didn't add those in but there are many of them, but I got a lot of, well, I paid for it, so it's not cheating. If I buy services, if I go to massage parlors or whatever, that's not cheating. That's just, you get your nails done, I get jerked off. Like, it's all the same. You got to talk about that, but they really think of it that way. And actually, I've seen like reconciliation literature that thinks of it that way too. Well, there were no emotions involved,
But
no
if
harm
it's
felt.
unacceptable to you, then it's unacceptable. That's the truth. You can call them what you like, but if
Yeah.
you're not happy for your partner to be receiving such massage services, then it's unacceptable. However much they justify it, or however much they try to suggest that it's different to what it actually is.
Now, you just want to make sure, though, Sarah, that you don't hurt their feelings because they may feel really, really bad about this.
It's not my fault. I don't get many offers. Women don't find me attractive. I barely held it together as I asked him if he expected me to feel sorry for him, and asked why the fuck he would say that to his wife. When I learned about the pity channel, it all made sense.
Hey, he doesn't get many offers. He's just a sad guy. He got an offer.
So it's understandable, isn't it? If you don't get many offers, then you seize the opportunity that you do get. But surely, if you're in a relationship, then you shouldn't be concerning yourself with getting many offers. I mean, surely you've had the ultimate offer. You don't need lots of other offers.
There you are with the uppercut of logic. Hey, but he didn't get many. And so this was a very, very special occasion in which he got an offer. And how could he say no? He's just been rejected his whole life. I mean, this is the whole like, what am I, chopped liver? Like, you're married to me? Like, what, my offer is not worth anything? Like, yeah. It's, that whole thing, like how they cheat and then you're supposed to feel sorry for them.
And it's just this idea that you're supposed to, throughout your life, massage your ego by getting multiple offers, even if you're in a relationship. And when you get discovered, then it's not your fault, because
No.
who could resist taking up that opportunity? And Yeah. So
And I would be like, women don't find you attractive. I wonder why. Because you're a creepy cheater. Like,
have we finished these? Because there's some,
yes,
it is quite a depressing insight into some of the justifications. The Can I add my own final one, which I know I'm
oh,
about to be.
please,
So
please.
my son's just graduated from university. My
Hey,
daughter is getting her A-level results next week, and my other son will get his GCSE results. They've all done quite well in life, but I know that I will get inevitably the text from my ex who waltzed off when they were all very young. Youngest was 2,
yeah.
going, "I'm so proud of you." And I think that's something that they say as well. I think there'll be a lot of people that will relate to the fact that, they will waltz off, they will leave you to
Oh, yeah.
the grown up adulting behavior, the doing the bulk of the childcare, picking up the lives, and then years later, when your children do okay, they suddenly pop up to be pleased with themselves, which I
Yeah.
find
Oh,
staggering.
no. Yeah, they swan in and they want the victory lap. I mean, I think your ex is doing this because it makes him feel magnificent. Oh, look at me bestowing a compliment on you. I'm so proud of you. Like, thank you for being good kipples. You reflect well on me. I mean, when they're leaving their mess around the house or doing the things that teenagers do that are unpleasant, he's not in the trenches doing that stuff. He's just there for the reflected glory of when they perform well, you know? And when you care enough to send a text. I mean, fuck him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For me, it would have been like me going up to some random teenager in the street and saying, "I'm proud of you."
Yeah, right.
When you've had that minimal level of involvement, it's a lack of self-awareness that has been demonstrated through
Mhm.
all of these submissions today. So I think we can safely say, just don't engage in conversation. Not worth it. You won't get anything sensible. It's going to be bonkers, whatever you get. And what are we going to do next then? Any suggestions for next week's edition?
Well, I thought we could discuss cheating in the public sphere. You know, I'm sure you have some Boris stories you could tell, Boris Johnson stories. We had a little blip I wrote about with Doug Emhoff here this week. And of course, Donald Trump is an adjudicated rapist. I try not to wade into politics, but we are really having a moment here in the United States. And JD Vance, we might have to go off on JD Vance. And yes, so there's a little teaser of things to come.
A lot more to talk about next week.
Yeah, so much stupid. Tune in. That wraps another episode of Tell Me How You're Mighty. You want to leave us a mighty story or a fuckwit of the week submission? Check out our new website, tellmehowyourmighty.com. That's Youre spelt Youre. We've got all the episodes, show notes, links to our guests, and you can see the tea room where Sarah and I first met. If you enjoyed this episode, please review the podcast and follow us. Thanks. See you next week.